too.
I feel like Chasey was a member from X7 coming into summer, replacing Jaeger from spring. And we're all wondering, we're talking about Challenger's career, how strong he was, how he liked to play, all of these aggressive fighters, assassins, tops of the map, fight you in your face, get that counter pick and shine. We didn't necessarily see that much towards the very beginning of the split. But right now, ever since Viking again has joined, there's a lot more freedom playing for these side lanes, especially since you have Tempt roaming as well. As you can see, he sees difference at 10. He's 17!
That's very impressive.
That is 3 waves up.
That's huge.
3 waves up his opponent, and actually he pulls out so much damage as well. He pulls about 100 less than what we saw from OD.
Yeah, that's very impressive.
Because OD is someone who gets resources and plays the AD carries, the hyper carries, the Aphelios, the Twitches. So, honing in onto the top lane matchup, Shikari told us in an interview that Na is one of the most blind pickable champions because now with the durability patch, he was given that extra HP in his mid-enough form to not be as abusable and as diveable as he used to be prior into champions like a Camille, into champions like an Aurelia that we're seeing right now.
Indeed. And
now,
also,
the case is...
Oh, go on, finish FL before I go on this little history bent.
Shikari has been a little bit volatile in lanes. Now, of course, when you're picking an Ornn into a Na, you expect to lose. This is why you're picking the Ornn. You pick the Ornn for the later on scaling. You're picking on to give it ornaments and so on and so forth. You're going to lose. The question has always been, can Chasey translate all this gold that he has in his pocket into a map win for X7? And so far towards the latter stages of the split has been a yes. Previous game, it was a yes. He used it, he took the nut, transitioned into team fights with big ultimates, catching people off guard. Hell, the last team fight that really turned the game around for X7 was him flanking on a TP ward. So, all eyes on this guy who, yet again, from blue side, gets counter pick.
Does indeed. It was the blind pick now 4th to allow for this Nocturne jungle option, which is a pivot from Bifrost, but obviously they needed to shift something up because they were struggling in that last game. We saw some attempts at plays, but highways in weird spots, and the team was kind of moving away when people were flashing in. It was all looking a little bit off kilter. And this is an attempt now to stabilize it.
Oh, but look at what Viking has done. Red to Wraith to Grom, quickest level 3 towards the top side of the map, and he's gonna go straight into that invade. If I'm not wrong, I think it was spotted by Diamond Procs. It's gonna be all up to these mid laners to move first. Both the jungles are level 3, but Chasey from the top side of the map moving into the jungle means that Diamond Procs might actually have to give up that buff, or he might end up losing his blue as well. And this is the problem that you run when you're running a jungler such as Nocturne, who might end up losing even more actually right here. He might be able to smite away his big chicken.
He's gonna have to. That's so sad. Can't even clear out the rest of the camp, but this has been the Bifrost problem. It's been Diamond's disaster. Will end the Endless Nightmare, though. I suppose that's not quite what the ability is. I call it Endless Nightmare. It's not actually what it is.
Talking about mid lane, and who's gonna walk in first? Fury was 1 HP for the longest time. So he couldn't be the one walking in first. So again, you see Viking, prior top, prior mid, ends up invading, has his top laner joining first. Mid lane for Bifrost cannot move. That means top quadrant of the jungle is no-go for Nocturne. And why is it so important for Nocturne? It's because his level 6 is the level that is very pivotal for him. He cannot just show up to a lane and gank like this. He wants to turn lights off and dive deep. Usually a Nocturne would be a side lane ganking champion that you want to catch people off guard, you want to pull off dives with. But if you do manage to extend his farming time towards that level 6, then that Zinza could pull off a few ganks of himself and get some laners ahead.
Yeah, and honestly, it's been a Diamond issue, really, where he's not always had that priority in lane, and teams like X7, like Viking, have been really good at basically punishing the lack of lane priority to come in and do what they just did there. Force Diamond off his red buff, fight him at his Raptors. There's nothing you can do there as a Nocturne.
Absolutely, and they know how pivotal he also is to his team. The fact that, you know, we have the meme, well, Diamond is gonna gank you 2, 3, 4. 3 things are certain in this life. Diamond ganking death and taxes, you know? So yeah, the fact that you slow him down, you put him on a level 6 champion, kind of sort of turns down the tempo of the game from Bifrost, which is not necessarily a bad thing right here, because you can get that level 6 onto Fury, try to roam the map. Talking about roaming, one of our heaviest roamers in the NLC has been Tempt, and he usually does pick champions that want to roam the Lissandras, the Ares, the Talias. Now, he's been put back onto a champion like the Azir. Last time we saw him play Azir, to a great extent, I want to say, was at EU Masters. And I personally said, when I saw him pick that, I'm like, oh, come on, man. Azir, what a Resident Slipper pick. And he pulls off like level 3 1v1.
Yeah, exactly, and getting like insane shuffles. Like, the guy still roams on Azir. He does incredible stuff. And obviously, we saw Fury in the last game, and we weren't all that impressed with his ability to find the defensive shuffles, or in fact, some aggressive ones either. It felt a little bit of a non-factor.
Shuffles in general.
Yeah, as Diamond using, of course, that Shroud to try and force an early Dragon, will secure it. Remember, Singh has no flash, does have the Ignite, and Bifrost really want this fight. They've got Crescendum, but Highway being dragged back, and he has to flash over the wall. He's going the wrong way. Now Tempter slides after him. There is nowhere to go, and that will be first blood going to Attila's Zeri.
And where does this start from? You're shoving in mid, you're moving Tempt first. Tempt is level 6, you can walk into the bot side river, and again for Highway, his positioning has been a little bit questionable. Once with the Lulu in game of 1, now with the Tam Kent. If you do lose, very nice smite right there from Diamond Prox, if you do lose your Tam Kent, your fellas can't play the game. Your fellas can literally walk forward and start throwing these auto attacks, knowing that you have the safety of your Tam Kent, especially after that level 6 where you get the Devour. You lose the Tam Kent, you lose the front line, you call the fight off. Now, again, all eyes on these junglers. Level 4 for Diamond Prox. He's fallen an entire level behind, and that's due to the fact that X7 used their priority so well to choke him out of his jungle early on.
Does clean up that level discrepancy though by getting a hold of those Krugs and keeping the CS at least relatively even. But of course, you've got to remember, Viking still has a whole quadrant of the jungle to farm, and Diamond just doesn't have that. We'll have a bit of a respawn on the blue side, but that's still a little ways off. And as it stands, the early Dragon does go the way of Bifrost, but right now X7 once again up a healthy amount of gold, once again able to buy a cull on their AD carry, once again looking like they're in a very good position in this game. And while we've got a minute or so until that Herald spawns, it's worth reminding people that both of these teams had very similar trajectories across their existences. Bifrost, mid-table in 2020 in the Norwegian League, then go to 2021, where they become a monster team in the Norwegian seed. Go to Telia Masters in spring, win it there, come back in the summers, well, get to the semi-finals there and do a pretty good job as well. They come into NLC, beating X7 in the lock-in tournament, then have a really great spring split, go to EU Masters, get to quarterfinals. It's been a story of success for this squad. And then in summer...
But you're getting your support and jungle changed. Duel and Seaboy suddenly became Highway and Diamond Prox. And even though, in any analyst's eyes, we thought this was going to be an upgrade, it feels like Bifrost have lost their identity altogether because support and jungle is your engine, are the two roles that are gonna get your game rolling so much. And I think particularly part of that problem is that Highway and Diamond Prox have not necessarily linked up way too much together. I feel like Odd and Highway have had a better laning phase altogether in the 2 versus 2, but if you don't link up as support and jungle, and your mid lane and top lane usually are very volatile and fall apart to ganks, it's really difficult to just play for the bot lane if you're Diamond Prox, especially since Odie is playing Aphelioses, Sennas, Jinxes, things that want to scale into the later stages of the game. We saw him in game 1, he tried to pull off some ganks in the bot lane that were unsuccessful, ended up falling behind. You need more routes to play through, and right now you have Shikari on the Mega Gnar. He can pull off some ganks, he can give you the setup. Level 6 right now to Diamond Prox. You've got Fury with a level 8 as well. Start roaming towards the sides, take down these threats early on.
Now available for some paranoia, but Chase has gone forwards, and that means there's a turnaround available. He's gone deep. The Vanguard's edge still lands, but what about the damage back? There's just nowhere to go. He's fleeing from the unspeakable horror of it all, and he'll fall down to the Nocturne. Great first gank.
That was very well done. Diamond Prox was hovering the right side of the map, and right as Shikari is about to hit Nina.
Gonna attempt to turn this one, but of course Diamond still got some ways out of this. Gonna flash forward for the knock-up. Shikari nearly at Mega, does get the shuffle back though, and Diamond will die. Nice attempt at the Herald is swiftly punished by X7.
Fury's coming in, he does have flash, he does have his ultimates available. They can actually walk towards that Rift Belt because Chasey doesn't have TP to join them quickly, and all in all it's going to be a trade 1-for-1. Fury a little bit slow right there with the teleport, had to sit in base because of that HP, because of his HP bar was pretty low when he backed. But again, we'll see. Shikari is shoving in a wave, and beautiful timing actually from Chasey. Sees the Mini Gnar, freezes his wave right there as well. He's like, it's a win-win scenario. But you do not count for the Nocturne. Nocturne is a champion that a lot of people, I think we had maybe Aragon talk about this, or MTS. They were like, you kind of forget that Nocturne exists on the map up to the point where like, oh
yeah.
shoot.
Yeah.
He's literally on top of me. So really good stuff for them from Diamondprox, having that top set up, getting the kill for himself as well, setting up himself for success.
Of course, nice attempt at the punish there that does succeed. Costs some flash, costs some ultimates, but they do get the kill back. They can't get the Herald, though, because of those health bars and ability discrepancies, so the Herald's still on the table, still unclaimed as it stands.
Yeah, and look at that now. It is literally a fight on who's going to push that mid lane way faster, because in 5 seconds, that dragon is spawning, and you definitely want to be having more members into that river. Now, how do you get that? You get that by shoving in that wave and having someone from the opponent team having to commit to push that wave back. As you see Tempt, he's going to walk over towards that mid lane as well. Fury has to respond with that, which means that everyone is going to dissipate from the play and go back into their lanes until there's one catch. You see, Nocturne all back out.
Gets the charm, and the Paranoid's back off cooldown. Won't quite get the kill, though. Oh my days, that is inches away. A flash, a Spirit Rush from Fury would claim it. They just don't care because they'll take that HP lead and try and fight this one out. Viking still thinking about going in here. It's not quite done yet. Got to head forwards. Crescent Guard out, but Diamond now in a dangerous position. Remember, still does not have the flash. Needs to keep hopping forward. Fury has got the Spirit Rush. The hostile takeover will force both members of Bifrost to be berserk, but the Devour keeps them alive. Attila's gone forwards, though, but Diamond with the shield is winning this one out. Odie's not here yet. Attila, rather, has the flash of the Wolf Pit. Gets a kill via the old truck laser, but now he's throwing it back, and Attila now in a difficult position. He will be abyssal dived onto Odie, looking for an auto. Will not happen. A shutdown comes the way of Tempts, or Furies, I apologize. I'm so used to seeing the Fox on the other side of the rift.
And X7 overreach right there. You see that your Azir is out of the play, but he has teleport. Give him a few seconds to go back into base, regen his HP and TP back into the play, and you have one more member on the rift because that Nocturne ultimate is down. We talked about this. If Nocturne doesn't have an ult, he cannot play the fights, he cannot dive the backline, but he doesn't have to if the backline literally dashes onto you, and you can actually play your game like this. Audi also hitting through the wall. They capitalize on a kill onto Viking. If I'm not wrong, I think Audi, no, he didn't get that one. It was Fury onto the Ari, who nets himself a kill. Very importantly, look at the items. Kraken Slayer for Audi. I'll talk about this in a bit because I think Diamondprox is looking for an opportunity right there. But I've been criticizing a lot of Athelos not building Gale Force. But when you have next to you a Brom or a Tam Kent, go for the Kraken Slayer, go for the max damage output, and expect your teammate to bail you out of sticky situations.
Diamond just ensuring Shikari is an easy way to shove in, all the while the Dragon was taken on the other side of the rift, and Diamond will now be spotted and on vision. A huge amount succeeded there, but they will use this pressure in topside to move over to that Herald and finally secure it. Not a huge amount of time, though, on the plates, though, so I don't actually know whether they really want to take it. In fact, they're just going to skip away from it, so not a lot gained in general. Right
here, I don't really think it's worth the investment because your bot lane is being threatened by a dive, so you definitely want to be hovering towards the bottom of the map to try and turn it around. Nocturne ultimate is up and available. You definitely want to be using this on cooldown. Somebody who had an excellent usage of Nocturne ultimate was when Bwipo was swapped into the jungle, and this man would literally push it on cooldown.
It's on cooldown again because they've used it one more time. A cleanse has to be used, and they'll get over the wall, but Attila forced away from the river.
Yeah, and that was an ultimate for Nocturne, for a cleanse for Attila. It's fine for now because he will have his ultimate up and available really soon, about 2.5 minutes left onto this cooldown. But what happens here is that Attila actually has to back, meaning that he might be losing in these 4 creeps that are going to be crashing underneath his tower right now. So really well done for Diamondprox. Again, he gets it off cooldown. He uses the ultimate instantly. As you will see again, it's almost on, off cooldown again. So expect a lot of this Nocturne ultimate. Again, if somebody overextends, you play Spot the Inter with Nocturne. Whoever overextends, you go down there and punish. Diamondprox has his eyes onto Kasink, who has no flash available to him, and neither does Attila.
No, they don't. This time they managed to keep the Zeri a little bit more down. Odie in a much more powerful position this time around. Running the Kraken Slayer, knowing he's got a bit more safety. Raw damage for this Aphelios to try and make sure he can contend with X7. All the while that Diamondprox were down the bot side, though, you saw Tempt and Viking head in, steal away that whole red side quadrant for the Nocturne. Not a lot that could be done with both solo laners shoved in for Bifrost.
Yeah, and what we need to keep an eye here is that X7 are handshaking on late game scaling and front to back. You've got a Zinzao that's going to pop his ultimate and sit in the front line and tank a bunch of that damage for you. You've got Tempt onto the Azir with a bunch of shuffles. He can get people away from his area and allow Attila to put down the damage. And if that doesn't work, you're walking into an Aurelia. Walking as 2 melees into an Aurelia. He's going to have an absolute party.
Dangerous.
Stack packing in her passive, getting that ultimate onto 2 members, and start rolling with these dashes. So X7 are handshaking here. They're literally telling Bifrost, we can play the team fights better than you. So far, though, the early game has gone pretty even for both. You mentioned it. Odie has gone through that laning phase completely unbothered. Locked in his first item, going towards the top side of the map now to get yet another tower to his name. And as you can see, the team is actually hovering around him. Diamondprox with the ultimate up. Highway glued literally onto Odie's Aphelios to try and protect him from any ganks.
Diamond's about to back, so I think they're just going to cede this Herald, decide it's not worth the fight, especially with Chasey at level 11. Might be a risk to take that one in a 3v5. All the while, though, it's given time for Shikari to shove in this bot side wave. And that'll be their trade, but it's still going to be X7 with the objective to their name.
Very good stuff right there. You don't really literally lose anything, because usually when we look at Rift Trials, we're like, okay, but what have you lost on the map to allow yourself to use all that time and resource towards that Rift Trial? Not much was lost apart from bot lane. Shikari did shove in that bot lane really hard. Chasey has lost a couple of minions right there, but it's not a big deal because Chasey is still ahead in that CS battle between him and Shikari. Again, though, you see that mostly right now Bifrost is hovering around Odie, making sure that Aphelios stays safe. Viking, though, lurking around that mid lane.
Wow, he'll go in, but just gets an Everfrost active out of Fury. Not too much more, but now Diamondprox and Highway looking to try and punish the Paranoia's down. And with Viking having gone over the wall, he's in danger. The charm comes out, the shuffle comes out, flash forward for Diamondprox to try and get the unspeakable horror. It'll force a flash away, but Bifrost will get out.
Tiny bit of a misplay right there from Diamondprox. Had he used the fear on Viking, Viking was dead because he had no flash. There was one more charge onto Fury's Ahri, but I think because Tempt and Viking were literally on top of each other, it's really difficult to differentiate the target right there to pop down the fear, which means that both Viking and Tempt managed to get out scot-free. But Diamondprox, very importantly, blows his flash. Highway also blows his flash. That was an attempt to kill X7, and Bifrost in the process have lost more themselves.
Unfortunately for them, it's going to come just before this dragon's about to spawn as well. Will make things a little bit more difficult if they do want to fight that. That Paranoia in particular being down is such a huge tool for Bifrost. Of course, down the shuffle, down the Crescent Guard, big deal for them as well, as Kasing is actually hatching a ward here, so he needs to be a little afraid. The Tongue Lash goes wide. And Highway might still look for this one, though. Gets into the backside of this Natilla. Sparks goes over the wall. There's the hostile takeover. Viking trying to come down as well. And Chasey and Viking both here will force Bifrost to retreat towards the tower. Wind becomes lightning strikes a little wide. And they'll get out of there this time around.
The thing is, they have 3 members on the top side of the map for the side of Bifrost, and the rest are towards the bot side, which are doing the Dragon right now. Literally, if X7 as a unit sprinted down bot, they would find a Shikari and a Fury doing this Dragon. Although it's just going to be Viking, not much to be done because the Dragon will already be going down. Bifrost early game. Not the cleanest.
Oh, Highway, you can't be there, my boy. That's going to be a lot of damage. A 3-level discrepancy.
Hey, Zouty.
Yeah, it gets out of there. I genuinely thought there was a world where there's a flash and an ultimate, and that's a dead Highway, but decides against that this time around.
Jace has been responsible with their resources. We don't want to be throwing away any more deaths right now. Talking about deaths and kills, this has been a relatively low kill game. We've got 6 kills at about 19 minutes in. And again, that's because X7 have chosen to handshake on that scale. And you've got Aphelios on one side. They've got Attila Zeri on the other. Attila is more than happy to go fully towards that late game and start putting down this damage. And on the other hand, you also have Azir on your side of your X7. 2 very hard scaling carries, 1 AD, 1 AP. So you definitely are happy to go towards the later stages of the game. Plus, Bifrost have a Nocturne. Nocturne is like a ticking clock. You're very relevant in the early game. You're semi-relevant in the mid game, which means you will dive the backline. You might get a kill, but you will most likely die. And towards that late game, you're more like a lights-out sort of bot, where you want to deprive people of a vision and maybe get a flank with Fury and Shikari to break apart.
Punish a longer lane if you can, once the map opens up a bit more in those later stages.
Punish the Inter.
Yeah, punish the Inter. Exactly that. And of course, Chasey has played the Aurelia one time before, had a rough time in lane, but then came back with the assistance of some Yumi gaming, where...
Oh, no, I just remember the game.
Yeah, exactly. I apologize for bringing back some slightly traumatic memories, but it was a very deadly turnaround. But Chasey was punishable on the Aurelia. He did look for those 1v1s and got a little bit punished for them in those early and mid-game stage of the game. But Diamond with the Paranoia available again, as he's not been afraid to pull the R button, but won't use so this time. Been trying to continue to defend Shikari as that Aurelia was looking for those 1v1s throughout the game.
Again, one of the best uses that I've seen of the Paranoia, because I was cut off last time, was when Weepo rolls swapped to jungle and he brought out his Nocturne. The guy would press Paranoia on a cooldown. Whether he would go in or not, that was up to the enemies to find out. But he would literally push it on cooldown, and that would play a mental game with your opponent. Is the Nocturne coming in? And if he's not, where is he? And when is he gonna come in? Because when you understand that 50-50, he's gonna go in and he's not, you start playing mental games with yourself, figuring out whether the Nocturne is gonna engage or not, especially when you don't have vision. So Diamondprox has been doing a pretty similar game where very close to whenever he has it off cooldown, he will press it and go in. Right here, they're trying to get sole control of that mid lane tower. There's only 2 members right now of X7 that Bifrost can see, but they've brought 4 to the party. They're looking at that mid lane tower, but it's pretty dangerous when Viking is around and Chasey has to pee.
I was thinking about heading into that river bush, but I think wisely backs away, was about to get pinned between a rock and a Xin Zhao.
That's not a place you want to be.
No, definitely not. Very pointy spear and wind becoming lightning and all the rest of it. But as it stands, it's X7 with control of the mid lane. And not too much to play for right now. Baron has spawned, but I don't think either team really want to start up as yet. It would be a very risky proposition.
You know what both of these teams want, though, initialize? It is that Ocean Soul.
Yes.
It's going to be huge. Making sure that you can go in, make a pick with the Nocturne and the Ari, and then walk out, heal your HP bars, and then re-engage again with potentially another Taunt or another Fear is going to be huge for the sort of Bifrost. And I'm saying mainly Bifrost because they're the ones that have already secured 2 for themselves. So in a minute and a half, they'll be able to get that soul point that will get them ever so slightly closer to that Ocean Soul that might help them later on in the game.
Can we check in on Fury's gold, please? Because I want to see how close he is to that death cap completion. Because if that is available before the fight for Dragon, that will be a massive boon for the side of Bifrost, who are facing down a couple items completion on the side of X7 as yet. And were attempting to collapse here.
I believe the word you're looking for is observers. Can we please take a look at the goal?
Indeed. There you go.
There we go.
The magic words, there you are.
Very close.
200 gold off, so should be very doable, especially with the teleport available.
Not 100 gold. It's 1,050.
Is it 1,000? I thought it was 1,100 for a death cap.
Yeah, it's 1,000 feet. I'm pretty sure. Correct us if we're wrong, chat. Correct us if we're
1,100. I'm sure. I'll put. I don't. What do you want to bet on it?
Listen, I've
Donuts?
put bets on KDXL and I've lost all of them, okay? I'm traumatized, never again.
I'm going to look this up now.
Oh, actually, I've got another bet.
Oh, yeah?
But we'll talk about this
Okay.
another time.
All right, 30 seconds until what would be soul point for Bifrost if they can secure it. Chempunk chainsword in Shikari's inventory. There is the death cap completed for Fury. And Bifrost ready to rumble, but it is X7 who are out on the map first.
Ooh, look at bot lane though. Fury's TPing down on the map. They might be looking for potentially a flag. Shikari is almost mega now. They might be looking to try and punish anyone that overextends towards the bot side of the map. X7 are going to be playing for that Dragon. They definitely don't want to give soul point to Bifrost. They know that 2 members of Bifrost have to walk through mid lane, but the fact that Fury has gone undetected towards that bot side of the map could mean that the flank works. What's problematic though is that Diamondprox is nowhere near that Dragon, so it's going to be 2 apiece.
Yeah, unfortunately, he got chunked out by an Ultra Shock laser that put him down to about half HP, and then with no wards, they just decided, there's no way to make this one happen. But Fury still off vision is now spotted.
That is a very long lane, though, and he actually has to walk it out. But he has been spotted, so Fury spending so much time down there, expending that teleport, netted him nothing. Which means you're a teleport down and a play down, and probably a little bit of tempo from not having another lane shoved for the side of Bifrost. And again, this used to be one of our biggest criticisms. The fact that Bifrost do not control their waves very well, do not give lane assignments to their side laners, and this is due to a lot of the communication errors that we have spotted on the map as well, whilst X7 very wisely will take whatever is given for them. Fury might overextend right here, has his flash available, has a Spirit Rush as well, very
slippery champion.
Very cleverly will stop right about there. As you can see, 3 members.
They go, and there's the Paranoia afterwards going in. Stopwatch will buy time. In comes Viking, but Shikari's about to be around. It will be multiple solo laners from both sides here. Teleport now coming through. Diamond has to flash away. Attila can start chasing. Zeri online. Fury slowed by the Ultra Shock laser. Diamond just about alive. And no one dies this time. Teleport pulled. but Bifrost get out alive.
What's the guns on Oddie though? He has the Infernum, a huge Moonlight Vigil with Infernum could be really big,
Baron?
especially when X7 are all piled up. Talking about piled up, when you're doing Baron, you're all piled up into this pit. Watch Oddie. He has the sniper, he has the fire gun. This could be massive for Bifrost.
Such a risk. How much damage can they do? The moonshot goes wide, down to half HP on most members. Chasey and Kasing looking to find an angle. The hostile takeover only lands onto Highway. Shikari now trying to half out flash for the Vanguard's edge onto 3, but the turnaround from Odie. Infernum runs running for Chasey, trying to play this one out best he can. He's blade dancing his way into the grave. A dusk wave claims his life. Diamond now turns up, but with 2 members dead and the smite down. X7 have to retreat, and Bifrost will find themselves a Baron.
Yeah, absolutely. X7 overextend themselves into a choke point, into an Aphelios that we said has Moonlight Vigil, does have the Infernum, into an area with all this AoE damage, and of course into Highway's Tam Kench. Whoever you're trying to kill, he's going to save him unless the target is Tam Kench himself. X7 will lose 2 crucial members, including their jungler, which means that Baron is going to be free for Bifrost since they have damage procs up. And if we see this again, you'll see that because Megana goes mini, X7 do find the timing, but Kasing's ultimate only hits Highway, and Chasey's season opening 3 hits 3 people here, but Viking literally explodes from Odie's Moonlight Vigil right there. We mentioned it with Infernum, and unless your target is that Tam Kench, the fact that the Kench is around to it, whoever's in trouble is gonna save you from these sticky scenarios. Bifrost finally find that one team fight to put them into the game.
Every flash got burned aside from Attila's. Like, that was the kind of every button being pressed kind of scenario. And now
Bifrost,
Bifrost,
with you, I've never seen Attila being in danger when he plays the Zeri.
It's so difficult to close this champion down, but this is now giving Bifrost the opportunity to claim those structures that have been all over the map. 3-0 is Odie on this Aphelios. He's getting closer and closer to what looks to be an Infinity Edge. He's got a stopwatch as well. Viking will go in, but there's still a Devour. There's no easy way to make this one happen. Diamondprox comes in, will avoid the hostile takeover with the use of his Shroud. And now Temp goes in, gets a shuffle onto Highway, and he will fall. Attempted turnaround fails. Fury will shove in the top side, and that will be all she wrote.
And that is tempo shut down for Bifrost right there. They will only manage to take that top lane tier 2, but whenever you have Baron, your eyes are on this mid lane tier 1 if it's still standing. The fact that there's an Azir and a Zeri on the side of X7 means there's a bunch of wave clear, so if you don't have Baroned up minions, it's really difficult to break the tower, but they want to break Chasey instead.
He's got no flash. He's going to have to find a really good flawless US, and it's not flawless enough. Smashed into the wall. Shikari gets it.
Yeah, Fury and Shikari pairing up really nicely. The first teleport towards the bot lane did not work. This one did work wonders. Fury has been way more proactive on this area on the map, getting towards the top side of the map with the Baron buff, getting that top lane tier 2, now TPing bot lane, getting the kill, pushing that wave. These are the champions that have actually left their stamp on the rift when it comes to Fury. The Akalis, the Aries, the Silases, the aggressive, the in-your-face. In this game, he's making it work. 1, 0, and 4. The only thing that he has done, which is a mistake, is not buying the ring.
The ring is not in there. Somewhere out there, Nightmare is very upset. But Bifrost used the dregs of this Baron to shove into the mid lane again and try and set themselves up for what would be sole point. That mid lane turret still stands, though. X7 have defended that one tooth and nail and have done so successfully. Fury on the flank will just about not hit the charm. X7 want to fight this one, though. They're teleporting in, and we have a 5v5 brewing on our hands. Viking will try to go in, but the Paranoia is popped. The lights turn out, but everyone else is still alive. The charm lands on the Viking. Stopwatch to keep himself alive. The hostile takeover comes through, but the Infernum Moonlight Vigil does so much work, but the hostile takeover means Diamondprox is murdered by his own team. It's cannibalism into a Shurima shuffle straight out of the LCK. A certified Zeri moment with the Ultra Shock lace to finish it off, and X7 will come out with a wipe.
And out of everyone, Attila still has both of his summoners up and running, because when he's on this champion, he's absolutely unstoppable. 6, 1, and 1. 3 items towards 4 into his inventory. A triple kill from this fight, and 700 gold bounty on his head. You said he had his fast available. That's because he never needs it, because he's never in trouble. And as we can see this again, Fury is trying to get from the side, but Fury dives into the pit, which means his flank is no longer relevant. Everyone dives into Viking, but Viking doesn't care if he dies, and that Renata ultimate right there means that Highway is going to lick Fury, Diamondprox to death. And Tempt, bringing back memories from that EU Masters spring. This is amazing as he plays, setting up Attila for a triple kill.
For a game that was looking more and more like Bifrost could control it, Tempt comes in and slams him straight into the grave. Very appropriate considering the skin he is running. In goes Viking to the backside. The last time he tried this, he died. Fury gets a stun onto Tempt, forced him away. Fury continuing to dash, and Tempt chases afterwards. The Vanguard's edge lands onto 2. Devoured to safety by Highway. Now trying to push this one around, but still dashing around. Does so much work. Hostile takeover does his work in turn. Diamond Prox on the side, goes in, tries to go to chase him, but so much healing. The stopwatch afterwards can only get close enough. Trying to trade this one out, they cannot secure the kills. And Odie did not feel comfortable to step forward. Attila now is beginning to run rampant with the lightning crash running. Oh man, Meganar! That will be 2, a shutdown onto Zeri. And Shikari says, Tempt, I can do it just as well as you.
Holy, Odie gets a triple kill right there. It's literally the battle for the best AD carry in the league between Attila and Odie. And Shikari has been silent the entire series. Silent no more. Sets up his ADC beautifully for a full-man Moonlight Vigil. A triple kill, and Bifrost have solidified themselves back into this game after completely throwing it away. And I hope we see this replay again, because it is Bifrost overextending into X7 overextending, but look, very crucially, there is no Moonlight Vigil right here on Odie. Odie does not want this fight. Highway, Diamond Prox, Gecko. Remember, if the Tamkench is alive, his team members are not in trouble, but when the Tamkench goes down or is in threat, that means that fellas cannot play forward. Diamond Prox dashes in thinking he can get the kill on Chasey, but Chasey is just too healthy to tank this Aurelia. Mind you, Shikari has not used Meganar this entire time. Diamond Prox baits people towards the wall to try and kill him, and Shikari with a beautiful shove. 4 members onto this wall means that Odie gets a pretty free, huge Moonlight Vigil with Infernum right there, netting him triple kill. And this is going to be a fight of resilience. This is going to be the front-to-back team fights from both sides. Which AD carry can dish out most damage? You were talking about summoners. Both Odie and Attila do not have any. And in a minute and a half, they will still not have their flashes up. But this is going to be so point for Bifrost.
Eyes on Highway and saying one has the bailout, the other has a devour. Can they keep their superstars alive? 6 kills apiece to both these AD carries. Charm on the Tempt does a lot of work, but it won't be able to get too much more damage. Half HP is all she wrote. Shikari gets the tier 2 in the bot side. Both top laners trying to do what they can. And a reminder, everyone, since Viking has joined, X7 have yet to drop a game. Bifrost were looking like, honestly, they were done in this series after that first game. It was a whitewash. It was easy as you like to get to a 10k gold lead. In this game, it's been a slugfest. It hasn't been clean, but Bifrost have given as good as they've got. And they might be able to find the victory in this game.
And Bifrost has been holding grudges against X7 from the last split. Being able to decimate them in the regular split in spring and losing every best of series against them in playoffs. X7 pushed them down to the playing stage in EU Masters, both making it all the way into quarterfinals. These were our 2 representatives last spring, and right now they're leaving it all on the Rift, because whoever loses here does not get another chance.
It's do or die. Our EU Master representatives from spring here in this first round robin, looking to try and secure themselves a step further into playoffs. Dragon spawns in 5 seconds, but X7 hold command in the river.
There is a bot ward in that tri-bush if Shikari wanted to pull off a flank. But at this point, when you have Aphelios, you can actually start hurrying up that Baron.
It's done. That's Baron gone. Bifrost say, fine, you get to soul point, we'll take the Baron. We can fight for the Dragon afterwards. Shikari's gonna have to get over the wall, and can they extricate themselves from danger? Fury gets a big charm onto Chasey. And yes, Fury is chunked out by the Ultra Shock laser, but he prevents any easy follow-up, and Bifrost trade well.
And Bifrost find themselves in the goal lead for the first time in this series. Netting themselves the Baron this time, they've been playing their side lanes much better. They've been using Fury proactively on the map, using him on the side lane. He knows he can bully Tempt around on this Ahri with 4 items. 107 yet to die Fury on this Ahri. And of course, you want to give the soul point over to X7 because you don't want your flashes Aphelios to walk into a fight. That's not going to be very beneficial for him. Now his flash is almost up and available. You want to keep him in a lane that's very safe. Have Highway literally glued onto Odie's butt just in case any threat comes his way. He can actually save him and then use that pressure with the Baron buff towards that bot side to try and break the map open. Right here, Bifrost, you'll see they're going to be pushing in that mid lane, they're going to be pushing in that bot lane, and then suddenly you can find a pick onto X7 or one of the towers falls.
Tempt at 4 items at this point. Zhonya's, Death Cap, Void Staff, he is very much online. We know what a level 18 Azir can do, and Tempt is one of the better ones we have in the ERLs, full stop. Diamond Procs is the split push option. Of course, he's got a very easy way to join his team. The rest of Bifrost are either in the jungle or keeping this cannon minion alive as it is shoved in to the tier 3 in bot side.
Yeah, as you can see though, Shikari, Odin, Highway are playing sort of in between. Diamond Procs can really easily join, but how easily can his team join him if he's the one getting engaged? Mind you, level 17 Aurelia, level 18 onto this Azir, level 16 on Attila's Zeri, just spiking all that 3 points onto the ultimate. Same for Odie as well. Level 16 onto that Aphelios. Oh, Fury
gets hooked, but will stay alive. And Viking so close to dying, won't quite fall, will not burn out the bailout. Oni was down to about 50 HP, if that. Fury's ultimate was burned for it, but of course Viking has had a rough one. He's got a GA, but he's 0-4-3. He has been putting his body on the line to mixed results. Same with Diamond Procs. They have been the go buttons, and those go buttons have been oh so punishable in this game.
But it's so difficult to siege X7. Zeri's got pretty good wave clear. Azir has pretty good wave clear. So unless you actually dive them, which is very dangerous because of the Renata ultimate as well, there's no easy way to actually siege them. What you need to do is try to catch X7 off guard. This is what Fury tried to do there. If that was a 4 versus 5, maybe you attempt a dive or you actually pressure one tower that has less members defending. Now, you see Bifrost do not back off. They're still using their buff to try and continuously shove in waves. At some point, X7 might overstep. They might get punished. Talking about being punished, Fury does have his ultimate up and available. He sees a member overstep. He can actually dash in for the taunt and kill.
And that's just it. Bifrost have a lot of ways to pounce between the Abyssal Dives and the Spirit Rushes and the Paranoias and the Gnar hopping forwards. So many ways to try and punish someone overextended in the side lane. Punish the Inter was the call. And honestly, it's been semi-successful. It's
worked so far.
Oh yeah, it hasn't been an easy game. By no means. X7 have had this game in their grasps a few times. Similarly for Bifrost. And they are the ones right now with map control. They are the ones who will be setting up for the Dragon, which spawns in just over a minute. We have ourselves a monumental, cataclysmic, apocalyptic fight coming up.
I was
Pick another
about to
objective.
say, I really don't think it matters who gets the dragon because it's going to be a huge fight
Yes.
for that Ocean Soul. So what matters for both of them is how they play these fights. And again, vision is going to be crucial. Making sure you push in that mid wave gives you more routes to enter that bot side river. If you look at all the control wards from the side of X7, they're making sure they're not getting flanked. They have so many control wards into their jungle, making sure that Shikari's not going to get a flank, Fury's not going to get a flank, because when Chasey got a flank on that Gnar and broke apart the team fight, Bifrost lost in game 1 out of 1 flank. So right here, again, solo laners have been very proactive, shoving in together towards the top side of the map. If a fight breaks out, they both have teleports.
Damned if you do, damned if you don't. They're going to try and trade this one out. Chasey is down there, but that's the inhibitor turret gone. They're going to back away. They've still got chance to teleport in. Eyes on the inventory of Odie as well. He's decided he's an 80s metal fan because he's going to rock him like a Runan's Hurricane if he gets the chance. So much damage on both of these star carries. Chunk out, and they're going to stay bot. There is the Shikari. Fury getting the wave control on that bot side, as you said. It is Bifrost who have better control of these sideways this time around, but it's X7 in the river first.
And Odie does have that Inferno for huge Moonlight Vigil as well.
Here they go. Fury over the side, trying to get onto Viking, who has been dead to right. Soul secured. Viking will stole down. Fury trying to do what he can already. Zeri gets one. Tempt gets into the backside, and maybe X7 can still win the fight. Can Odie stay alive? Yes, he can. Tempt will not survive as well. He's dead. A triple to Odie, and Bifrost even the series. They will not go down without a damn fight.
Odie dived in like a freaking Samira who started spinning on an Aphelios. He flashed into 4 members of X7 and Highway was there to save him. Shikari dived in to get that huge ultimate, and Bifrost are not gonna go down without a fight. Best of 5. This is not a best of 3, and Bifrost are putting 1 on the map for themselves.
And X7's undefeated streak collapses before their eyes. Viking loses his first game of the organization, and Bifrost are here to play, baby.